A very good morning to all my dear students. Today, our new chapter which we are going to start is Footprint Without Feet. This chapter is from Footprint Without Feet, the book, and written by H.G. Wells. First of all, I'll give you an introduction of this chapter. This story is about a scientist who discovered how to make himself invisible. As he was afraid of being discovered in London, where he had committed some crimes, he ran away to a remote village. However, he ran out of money and resorted to robbery, using his advantage of invisibility. So this is how the story begins, and it ends. In between it, all the activities he has done by being invisible has been described. Now the summary I'm going to read out or to explain out, and after listening to the summary, please go through the chapter entirely to understand it better. Griffin was a brilliant scientist. He carried on experiments for years to prove that human body could become invisible. So it was his habit, or it was his experimental ways, how he got the invisibility, and he swallowed certain rare drugs and became an invisible person. He had a quarrel with his landlord. In revenge, he set fire to the house. He removed his clothes, became invisible, and go away without being seen. He began to wander about the streets of London without clothes, without money, and invisible. So what happened? He happened to be in some mud. As a result, his footprints were left behind as he walked. Two boys were fascinated by the footprints without feet. So, footprints without feet, this is the name of the story as well. So, where from the footprint has come without feet? Without feet means the feet could not be seen by others, but the footprints could be seen. They followed the footmarks, and however, Griffin easily dodged them. It was midwinter, the air was bitterly cold, and he was without clothes. When the cold became unbearable, he slipped into a big London store. When the store was closed, he broke open boxes and found warm clothes for himself. On wearing them, he became a visible person. He found cold meat and coffee in the kitchen. Then he took sweets and wine. At last, he slept on a pile of quilts. When he woke up the next morning, the assistants had already arrived. He got nervous and began to run. They chased him, as he was wearing the cloth, so he could be seen by them that time. Then he quickly took off his clothes, became invisible, and escaped from there. So it is when he is naked or without clothes, he can be invisible. But as soon as he wears a cloth, he becomes visible. So what he did? He took off his clothes and became invisible and escaped from there. This time he entered a theatre company. He made his way upstairs. Nobody could see him because he was invisible. A little later, when he came out, he was wearing bandages round his forehead, dark glasses, and false nose, big bushy six wrinkles, and a large hat. He attacked the shopkeeper from behind and robbed him of all that he could find. Griffin was eager to get away from crowded London. He went to the village of Epping and booked 2 rooms at a local inn. His uncommon appearance attracted everybody's attention. Mrs. Hall, the landlord's wife, made every possible effort to be friendly with him, but he told her frankly that he had come there to work in solitude and did not want to be disturbed. She was satisfied. She thought he was an eccentric scientist. Moreover, he had paid the rent in advance. When his stolen money was spent, he admitted that he had no ready cash. He said that he was expecting a check and then he would make the payment. Thus, he satisfied the landlord. Now Griffin took off his clothes and became invisible. He entered the clergyman's home with an intention to steal money from there. The clergyman and his wife woke up when they heard noises in the study room. The clergyman entered the room with a poker in his hand. To his surprise, the room appeared to be empty. He and his wife searched everywhere, but there was no trace of the burglar. Yet, the desk had been opened and the money had been stolen. But they could not see the scientist or Griffin. The morning, the landlord and his wife got up early. They were surprised to find the scientist's door wide open because it was usually shut and locked, and he did not allow anybody to enter his room. When they entered the room, they found the scientist missing. The clothes and bandages that he always wore were lying in the room. In the meantime, the invisible scientist entered the room. He attacked Mrs. Hall with the bedroom chair. She and her husband left the room in terror. Now Mrs. Hall was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits. She held the strange scientist responsible for that. The neighbors felt that the trouble was caused by witchcraft. When they came to know of the burglary at the clergyman's home, they suspected the strange scientist. Their suspicion was strengthened when he suddenly produced some ready cash because only a day before he had admitted that he had no money. They secretly sent for the village constable. When Mrs. Hall saw the scientist emerging from his empty room, she demanded explanation. The scientist became furious. He threw off his bandages, whiskers, spectacles, and false nose. The space above his shoulder was now empty. The people in the bar were horrified to see a headless man. In the meantime, Mr. Jeffers, the constable, arrived there. He was surprised to find that he had to arrest a headless man. He tried to get hold of the man who was becoming invisible. The constable was struggling with someone whom he could not see at all. Some people who tried to assist him also received blows from the invisible scientist. The constable was knocked unconscious. Griffin had shaken himself free. In their nervousness, people tried to hold him, but they did not know from where to catch him. So, catching an invisible person is very much difficult, and he started getting off the bandage, and he was becoming invisible, and it was very difficult for them to catch him. And this is how the scientists escaped from from the problem he had but whatever he did with the advantage he had was not at all good. He committed many crimes, and with the help of that invisibility, he did many mistakes which he should not do. This is how the story ended. Mm, and this is how he escaped from the scene. So this is the summary of the story. And for knowing it better, you have to read the entire story from your textbook. Before getting the question and answers, you read the story, and please be very much aware about the inside questions which are going to come in your next exam, and the question answers which will be given will help you better to form questions on your own. Thank you. Have a good day.